continue on what's trending. Vice President Kashim Shettima's statement in which he referred to the leaders of the 10th National Assembly as representatives of the black man, while asserting that if Nigeria fails, the black man has failed, generated reactions over the weekend. Shettima made the comment in Akwa Ibom State while declaring open a 2-day retreat for the National Assembly leaders. Well, let's take a listen before we take some reactions.
Power is a gift from God. We are going to spend more years of our lives outside power than in power. Power to me is a humbling experience. Power should be used for the good of the people. We are the luckiest amongst Nigerians. We are not better than our next door neighbor. Yesterday I hosted my classmates from the University of Ibadan, the MSc class of 1991. The best graduating student in my class was from Oladipo. Oladipo is languishing as a DGM in one mediocre bank. He was the best graduating student. That goes to show that we are here not because we are the best of the best, but we are the representatives of our people. We are the representative of the black man. That is the burden we all carry. If Nigeria fails, the black man has failed. Let us make Nigeria work.
Languishing in one mediocre bank. I mean, that statement got me. But let me take some reactions. This is from Jude, who wrote, so according to Shettima, the GGM of a bank is languishing in that position? That's what happens when you have wealth without enterprise. Any society where career politics is more profitable than business and enterprise is in decline and destined to fail. Well, Nze Indianambra wrote, my 3 take. 1, insults to his classmate. 2, insults to the banking system. 3, insults to hard-working Nigerians who are not stealing public funds. Number 4, insults to those who have no classmates. Rufai, you have classmates, right?
Plenty classmates.
You have plenty classmates.
They're everywhere. In fact, we have classmates WhatsApp group. Is it from Sam?
I mean, how would Oladipo feel when he hears that?
So there's something called tact in speaking. I get where the vice president is coming. He wanted to inspire them. You know, if Nigeria fails, we all fail. And I get the train of thought that, oh, we are here because it's a privilege. And God has given us the privilege. But there's also something called tact. And that was lacking. And it's not today he's lacked it. This was the same vice president that told his predecessor vice president that he was an ice cream seller.
Yes, I remember that.
That he was Mr. Nice Guy for politics. That wasn't good enough for politics. When he was told, he finally apologized. He has said many other things too that shows he lacks that level of tact in speaking. Because what he has just said is he has just denigrated the hard-working people that didn't choose to go the path of politics. Please, for whoever you are, that Mr. Vice President's classmate, Mr. Oladipo, you are successful as the DGM of a bank. You are running your own race, you are living your path, you are doing well within your right. Not all of us will become vice presidents, not all of us will become politicians, but we will be successful in our own right and in our own lives. Just to set that straight. So please, next time, I think we can limit this by making our leaders follow a script and let them stop speaking off the cuff. Because when they want to speak from the heart, sometimes they lack the tact to be able to say it. And for every hard-working Nigerian out there that never went through the route of politics, that will never do politics, it doesn't mean you are not successful. Even if you're working in a microfinance bank after 30 years of doing MBA, your success is your own ramification. And your success is not about money or the big fat bank account or the big political positions and all of that. Because you see, these same politicians that say so much, sometimes when you see how they bastardize the offices and political offices, you don't want to be a politician. You don't even want to be a governor or something. So please, tact is of the importance.
Absolutely.
Let us have it.
Dr. Abasi, I know you want to
Can we define the context of this conversation?
Right, go ahead.
Now, the National Assembly members were having a retreat in Ikorekpene in Akwa Ibom State. Godswill Akpabio, as Senate President, must have chosen his state, Akwa Ibom. As governor of Akwa Ibom, I remember that on one occasion, he hosted the National Assembly to a retreat. At that time in Uyo, the state capital. And he was telling us when we arrived, you know, I was not part of the, I was not one of them, but the president, you know, went there. He was welcoming us to Gilgal, as he used to call Akwa Ibom. And now this time around, as Senate President, he has taken his colleagues to Ikorekpene, which is also a major community in that state. And the Vice President was there, you know, as a keynote speaker. What were the major things that he said? There were the major takeaways for me. Number one, he said power belongs to God and that nobody has a monopoly of power. And that public officials should realize that they will spend more time out of power than they will spend in office. And that in any case, it's a question of opportunity. And it was in that context that he said, okay, he was there as vice president, but one of his brilliant classmates, you know, is languishing somewhere as a DGM.
Oh, he did say brilliant.
In a bank.
Right.
Yes, he said brilliant man. Okay,
yeah.
Is it not the case? Don't we all have students? It's not every first class holder that turns out well. There are many first class holders who are slapping the streets.
But you're defining. How do you define well?
Just hold on.
Okay.
He's talking about opportunity in life. Second thing that he spoke about was about the black man's burden. The black man's burden is a theory. There's something called the black man's burden. And one of the tests on this is the book by Reverend Henry Johnson, Henry T. Johnson, an American. Here in Nigeria, Chief Areye Oyebola wrote a similar book of the same title, The Black Man's Burden, which is saying that, look, if the black man does not strive and do well for himself, he will be subjugated, as the colonialists did, and even as could happen in contemporary times. And the vice president made a point that, look, 1 out of every 4 black men is a Nigerian. That was is a black man or a Nigerian. That was his argument. And that if Nigeria fails, all of the black race will fail.
Yeah.
Now, that thought is not original to him. Other people have said it, just as the reference to black body. And finally, he made a point about collaboration between the executive and the legislature, what he called cordial relations. Right. Those are the main substances, you know, of his submission. That reference to the DGM who didn't make it despite his brilliance, you know, it's just a reference to differences in life's journey. After all, I've seen some people who made third class or graduated with pass, who are the commanding heights of everywhere in Nigeria, and yet they were poor people. I've seen people who were in the 200 level when I was already teaching at the University of Benin, who are today big entrepreneurs. Right. And I look at them, these were my students.
So in other words, leaders of the National Assembly are more important than bank MDs, right?
No, it's
well, all right.
life's journey.
Well, all right. Dr.
Differences.
Abati,